If you don't adopt and embrace technology, you will be left behind. But more importantly, will you be able to lead? Next slide. And so while I was at Fleet, I realized as a youth-oriented organization, it's pretty easy to get to a point where most of our sailors are under 30. And so someone like me is actually pretty rare. And so something like 85% of my enlisted force are millennials. That means they were born around 1990, about the time and birth of the World Wide Web. And so they've never lived in a time without the zipper. It's always been there. The apps have always been there. And that can make for different changes when you're trying to communicate. And let me just give you an example. I'd like to see a show of hands. How many of you have gaming consoles? Okay, everybody, please keep your hands up. No, please keep your hands up. I won't break the barrier again. You'll be okay. Everybody look around. Why aren't all the hands up? How common are gaming consoles? 60% of the households in the United States have gaming consoles. The average person goes home and spends about 2 hours on the internet, 1.75 hours right now, at the end of their day. And so if you're not gaming, where are you? But you're under 30s gaming. I mean, as you get younger, there's almost all of them are gaming, and it's not gender. It's men and women spending their time on the internet. That's their entertainment. That's where they innovate. That's where they connect. And if you don't understand that as a leader, it's hard to communicate with them, and it's hard to lead them. And then in my case, if I don't understand how it works, what they're doing, how do I lead them and fight? Because we will fight in this domain. If we fight in the physical domain, someday if we have a conflict, we will be fighting in this domain simultaneously at the speed of light. There's no doubt in my mind. And am I the admiral who's going to be Chester Nimitz, who's embraced it and figured out how to operate in this domain and to dominate in this domain? Will I be that person, the admiral who could lead them through it? Next slide. So much has happened. 2012, Saudi Aramco was attacked. 30,000 computers down in a day, the 10th largest supplier within OPEC. And they managed to operate through it. It's astonishing to me. Maliciously taken down to try and hurt the company. And so there's other examples of this, which you all know, everything from Sony to just other malicious breaches, criminal breaches. This domain, we're all in it. And so you have political activity, you have criminal activity, we now have vigilante activity. In 2015, as ISIS was coming to the forefront, different hacktivist groups said, the governments can't deal with this. They got together to figure out and start identifying ISIS members who had Twitter accounts, and then they would turn them over to Facebook or Twitter or other social media saying, we have worked together and we figured out these are the ISIS members. And they were right in about 800 cases and helped the governments shut down people who were creating terrorism, pushing terrorism across the globe. So you have vigilantes, you have criminals, and you have everything else I talked about, innovation. This domain is as real as the air domain, is as real as my maritime domain, is as real as the land domain that we're sitting in. And there's a lot going on. But what we don't have is Billy Mitchell. That's the guy I talked about at the beginning, the one star who said, if we don't understand how this domain works, that it's going to be powerful, we will fail in this domain. And so obligations of leaders, if there is no Billy Mitchell, then you need to be the Billy Mitchell. You have to understand how to operate, how to embrace new technology, and then you have to lead the way in its employment.